It's insane. I'm honestly in awe and frankly a little bit scared by how the Ukrainians fundamentally changed the dynamic of the war using free open source software to wipe out over a dozen Russian bombers and other air defense planes. They did it with zero casualties on either side. And in the progress, they literally changed how wars will be fought in the future.
Wow.
We're going to take you through how they did it,
Right.
why they did it now, and what decisions Putin will have to make in the future.
I'm ready. I'm buckled up. Let's go.
Buckled up.
Last time I saw Zelensky, he was not wearing a suit,
No.
and he was at the Pope's funeral. And little did we know, he had a real cool plan up his sleeve.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I don't think he texted that plan to anyone in the
Anybody.
United States.
Right.
There was no signal chat.
Yeah.
There was no phone call. He did not let anyone know.
If he did text it, it would have been in Ukrainian, which is impossible to read for normal Americans. So he would have been fine.
So maybe you've heard the drones. Have you seen that the Ukrainian? You've seen the drone strikes they've done, right?
Yes, and I know that's, again, one of their bigger weapons in this new age type war.
Yes, and it's crazy because this them being able to do this has been this very incredible move by them to level out the war. And since the beginning, they've been really developing all their drone capabilities. They have a bunch of technologists both within Ukraine, and then all these ethnic Ukrainians from the United States and Europe are actually coming in, and they're all technologists. They're coming in, they're helping them build drones.
Wow.
And all this drone capability. And so they use cheap drones that cost several $100, unlike the ones we make here, which are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And here's the thing that I found out is that they've been striking in the battlefield, of course, but they've also been sending these drones at night and striking Russian soldiers. And the Russian soldiers, and I didn't know if you know this, but this is now mythological.
Wow.
The Russians are calling these drones Baba Yaga.
What is a Baba Yaga besides, I assume, a delicious Russian dish?
But I'll tell you what, I felt like I heard Baba Yaga somewhere. Adam, do you remember Baba Yaga? Does that sound familiar to you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Adam, our engineer, remembers the Baba Yaga. So where does this come from? I'll show you. None other than the mythological creature, John Wick.
What?
It's not what you did, son, that angers me so. It's who you did it to.
Who? The fucking nobody?
That fucking nobody is John Wick.
Oh, my God.
He
John
was
Wick?
an associate of ours.
What?
We called him Baba Yaga.
What is a Baba Yaga?
The boogeyman?
Well, John wasn't exactly the boogeyman.
Here we go.
He was the one you sent to kill the fucking boogeyman.
What? Oh my God. I was not expecting some John Wick stuff in this. How exciting.
When I read it, I was like, I have to remember. And I was like, of course, it's John Wick.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
Good memory.
It's incredible. And the fact that, of course, in the movie, they're like, this is the one who kills the boogeyman. But it's like this old Slavic, mythological, nightmarish creature.
Right.
There's other different interpretations of it as well. But Baba Yaga, they are really terrified.
It comes in the night and you don't see it coming when it attacks.
And then boom.
Wow.
Okay. So how do they go from these single drone operations doing attacks on the battlefield to a multi-airfield attack across different regions in Russia, across 3 different time zones?
Wow. Do tell.
Well, they built on those drone capabilities, and they pulled some open source software that was developed not by the military, not by Hezbollah or some non-state actor, but by some drone hobbyists 20 years ago that wanted to make their Lego robot fly.
You're kidding me. I love Legos.
Well, these
You
guys
telling
really
me-
love Legos.
Right. They've got a whole new level of Lego love.
The software's called ArduPilot, and it started in 2007. And on the site, guess what the site was called? DIY Drones.
Oh my gosh. You can't make this stuff
You
up.
really can't. So I found this from 404media.com, the really good website on this tech news and stuff. And they did a whole write-up on the guys who wrote this software. Because as you'll see later in the show, the video footage has the logo of the software. 'Cause they're just using it in all the videos. So these guys rigged 117 drones with explosives. They got these drones, they put them in wooden containers at the top of these shipping containers and put them on trucks. So imagine like a shipping container, ones that you would like, make those like cool hip houses out of and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So they put them in the roof level.
This is what I did see in the news.
Yeah.
The pictures of these drones hidden in these little box houses.
Exactly. And according to Zelensky, they were preparing for this attack for like a year and a half.
Wow.
And
oh man, that guy's so cool. He was just sitting in the White House, Oval Office, just be like, I'm going to fuck up this whole fucking war. You don't even know you're yelling at me.
And so he even said that his headquarters for the operation was in Russia, across the street from Russia Intelligence HQ.
That's so cool.
Which we can't confirm, but that's like,
Right.
even if it's not true, it's a beautiful troll.
Right,
Like,
yes.
Go for it.
Yeah, just say it, and then they're going to go kill everyone across the street. Putin's losing his mind.
So with this very easy-to-use software, they were able to have all the drones piloted individually by drone operators. And the key here is that, one, it's open source, so that like all these other developers and people were developing it over decades now. And the thing about it was this software in particular works really well over long distances. No lag, right? If you're a gamer. No, the ping is low.
Right.
Okay, so it was a really good piece of software to use. When it came to attack day, they triggered the roofs of these containers to open.
Oh my God, that's
and
so cool.
each of
Like
these,
a convertible?
like a convertible. Each of the drones flew to an airfield and exploded a Russian military asset.
Wow.
Okay, so
What?
I want to show the New York Times did a great
Oh, yeah. We
write
got
up.
footage, pictures. Give me anything you got.
Yeah.
I'm all juiced now.
It's just so good.
This is when my accidental pro-war side part comes out. And I'm just like, they did what? It goes boom.
Okay, so the New York Times did a really good write-up on this, and I want to show you the map first of what they did. And you can see the 5 different regions. If you're listening, I'll explain it, don't worry. So first in the farthest northwestern region, there was this big air base where they destroyed at least 5 planes at.
Wow.
Then
And that's right by Finland, like on
Yes.
the Finland border.
Exactly. And then near Moscow, there were 2 other air bases. And then in the far eastern side of Russia,
Very far away.
in or like above China,
Yeah.
there was like 2 other places where they destroyed 7 planes there. And now Zelensky said they destroyed a lot more, but that's not super confirmed yet. They had satellite imagery that they'd used to confirm that. So
And those amounts sound small, 5 planes here, 7 planes there, but these are like major parts of the Russian
I'm so glad you
Air
brought that
Force.
up.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. These planes are not just like regular planes. These are bombers.
These are the premier.
And these are the ones that are sending over those cruise missiles. Whenever we started the start of the war and all these cruise missiles were coming in, these were the planes that were firing those cruise missiles.
Wow.
These are also the planes that deliver nuclear weapons. And they're also planes that are early air defense planes.
So these are
as
heavy
well.
duty.
These are all incredibly important. All right, so here's the big video that's been going around social media. You probably saw it. You could see in the top of it, and I'll explain it for the audio listeners as well, Pilot logo at the top, which is so funny. These guys, these nerds, were like looking at their software being used in the most elaborate military strike in human history.
Right.
And so what we're looking at right now is this like bird's eye view of a drone hovering over one of these bombers.
And how high up do we think this drone is?
Several hundred feet. It's 60 meters. Look, you could even see it's
Wow.
going, yeah.
Oh, right.
And so it's like slowly traveling down. And by the way, no one's around. They're just slowly descending upon it. We're getting closer.
It's like
and
leaving your car
closer.
unlocked on the street. Like, I'm just like, what are you doing parking that plane there?
And then boom, it explodes. And
Crazy.
all of these things are happening, and it's like incredible. This is happening across 3 time zones and 5 different air bases. And one of the things I like that has been happening with our kind of newsosphere now is that places like the New York Times have to explain to us where they got all their information from. And so they were going and finding satellite footage. They obviously pulled this video footage, and they're really showing their work here, which I think is really important because people like me don't actually believe the New York Times and everything they say all the time. Because a lot of times they would just take, and I'm sure a lot of people at home know
anonymous
this,
sources say.
well, they would also just do a single source government source.
Right.
And so
sometimes anonymous.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
All right, thanks.
Sure.
I'll take your word for it for my like whatever monthly subscription. And then here's another video that's been going around online as well. You can see the drone flying out of the shipping container.
Whoa.
Again, we'll put all the links to this in the episode description. But I think this is nothing more terrifying than seeing a drone just float out of a shipping container.
If I was driving behind a truck and a bunch of drones just started flying out of it, I'd be like, I'm gonna get off of this, Nick. I'm just gonna slow down.
And meanwhile, there's smoke coming out of the airfield nearby. So like they already did a couple of the bombs, and then more are coming out of the shipping container.
This is bonkers.
This is crazy. Okay, and then of course you gotta make sure that it self-destructs. Mission Impossible style, after all the drones are launched, the shipping containers were set to self-destruct.
Oh, that's so cool.
Nothing.
I don't want to skip ahead, but it's almost like the plan went off without a hitch.
No one died.
0 casualties except giant expensive planes.
Dear BB, you can do military operations without killing everybody.
Right.
Zelensky said they got 41 aircrafts, like I was saying. That's like a third of their air capabilities. Satellite photos right now are confirming like 15 to 20. So these drone operators did the operation within Russia, but then were immediately pulled out. And so none of them got caught. This is costing Russia billions of dollars, dollars that they don't have to spend to rebuild and make new ones.
Right.
And so this is like, and this, talk about a return on investment. These drones, a couple $100.
Well, see, now I feel weird about us giving them so many billions of taxpayer dollars. And it's like, wait, you could have just done this with
We could have sent you $1 million of drones.
Could have sent you the budget of NPR. You could have done this. Well, either way, you said this changes the game, not just because it takes out a third of Russia's big Air
less
Force,
than a third, but
But mainly, I think you were saying it's their front line airplanes, right? These are the ones that they send into when they feel threatened, like your cruise missiles, your nuclear.
Exactly.
So that's why it's such a big deal, and that's why I think you were about to get to. Putin's like, I got to change my strategy now because you just lost a bunch of key shit, bro.
Yeah, and the real crazy part is, why did they wait so long to do something like this? Right?
Probably to make sure it went off as well as it did, right?
Yeah, you got to have. Of course, you need a lot of pre-pro.
Yeah.
A lot of pre-production.
That a lot of people, Cena and I are both in the video production game. A lot of people don't know that like 40 to 60% is pre-pro.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're on set for like 2 or 3 days.
Yep.
And then you're in post for the rest of it.
Exactly. And you got to do a lot of planning. But a year and a half is a long time. And obviously they took a good amount of time to do pre-pro. But in Istanbul this week, Ukraine and Russia met for ceasefire talks. And the Ukrainians did this attack 1 day before those ceasefire talks.
Woo, brutal.
So you remember? Do you remember?
I remember that. So there was a few weeks ago, Zelensky had showed up to a thing, and Putin didn't show up, and then Trump didn't show up because Trump was like, "I'm not showing up if Putin's not there. Putin's not there. Nothing's gonna happen." And then Zelensky like went symbolically by himself. And maybe that's when in his mind he was like, I'm going to fuck them up so fucking hard, man.
Well, speaking of Trump, remember this?
You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look.
I don't have the cards.
You don't have the cards, and you don't ceasefire. He's doing like an impression of him.
He doesn't
All
have.
of Trump's impressions sound the same. It's just this voice. They all come to me. They say, "Sir, sir." My wife comes up to me. She says, "Sir." Sorry, that's my impression of a Trump impression.
Impression.
Very meta.
We're lost into it here.
Good grief.
But look, he said you don't have the cards.
You don't have the cards.
Now he's got the cards.
He's got the.
And
Zelensky's. I got the fucking cards.
He's got the cards.
Good for him.
So they went to these talks this week, and
how'd those go?
They lasted an hour.
Oh boy! You tell me now the Russians are mad?
Yeah. So they lasted an hour. They talked about an all for all prisoner exchange, which is not unheard of.
Sure.
But it lasted an hour, and what the message was clear. Like, we got cards, and they are really pushing Russia to come to the table for a ceasefire, and that's all well and good for Ukraine. A lot of pressure on Russia, but the question is, what is Putin going to do now?
Yeah, what does he do now?
And so Putin, how Putin started this war, he's like, okay, I've got more people, I've got more resources, we send oil and to Europe. Eventually, I'm going to win a war of attrition. Ukraine's way smaller.
Right.
All I got to do is stick this out.
Just keep going.
Keep going. And eventually, the United States, which was already happening, and Europe will just be like, can we just
end it? Sign a deal.
You lose the territory. I don't care.
Right.
It's fine.
Right.
And now, Putin looks weak. Because he decided to do this war.
Weak.
He hates looking weak. He decided to get into this war.
He hate that.
And now he put everyone in Russia in an extremely precarious position. And he's definitely committed a ton of war crimes. He's attacked the civilian centers all over the place. So he may just ramp up attacks. But Travis, here's the crazy thing.
Oh, no. Is he going to go full BB on him?
Well, he was talking previously in the previous administration. One thing came up in Bob Woodward's book about Putin using a tactical nuclear weapon.
Ooh.
And so
That's bad.
that is bad. Now, there's everything I'm reading says he's probably not going to do that, and China doesn't want him to do that. But
China's a key ally of his right now.
it's about the only ally.
There you go. The only one that really matters.
Yeah. Like North Korea will send a bunch of guys that have never seen the internet before.
Right.
But they'll get distracted by Hub. And so can I even say that word on YouTube? I don't think so. We may have to bleep that out. I think
P-Hub.
P-Hub. Yeah, on the hub.
Yeah.
But now
That's their Baba Yaga. Didn't see that coming. Literally.
And so Putin his whole board game just got flipped over.
Flipping over the table.
It's wild to me.
Man.
And so 3.5 years he's been saying don't expand NATO, and now Finland's in NATO, and you got more border countries are joining NATO. No one's stopping doing anything that they were intending on doing.
Right.
And now, what do we have here in the process of all of this? Great for the Ukrainians, right? Sure. But what it says to me is this has changed war forever.
Right.
If you're
This tactic.
If you're a small country with a good number of nerdy technologists, you can command a swarm of drones that'll just blow stuff up. Like, if you spend 100,000% less than the United States or Russia or China, you could make a difference. That's asymmetric warfare right there.
Yeah. I mean, I know we're a foreign policy show, but it reminds me of America's very first war, the Revolutionary War. The reason why the colonials were able to take on the great big red British army is because the British were marching rank and file down the streets, and then the revolutionaries would fire their muskets from the bushes and take a whole bunch of them out. It was guerrilla warfare at the time.
Yeah, all you got to do is just figure out the way that, you could gain an advantage, and this is a huge advantage. I can already see how this will change. I mean, we need, like, everyone's going to have a military-industrial complex. Like, there's going to be, like, a race war. There's going to be a weapons race happening in Europe.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, there's going to be a drone race. Like, these drones are going to be battling.
And that's exciting because that means all the military budgets can just come right down.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that'll happen.
Everyone can start finally just spending that money on food and education and healthcare.
Everything's going to become a tower defense game with just drones.
Wow.
Anyways, listen,
all right. Changing the game.
So that's the update on the drones.
Thank you.
The drone strike for the Ukrainians.
Thank you for the update.
Isn't
the
that
Baba
insane?
Yaga is coming for us all.
All right, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we got some more news stories from the world. This is the Foreign Report. I'm Sina Gazdovi, Travis Irvine. We'll be right back.